Good evening, everyone. This is Rahul Reddy. I'm a mentor with Career Launcher Bangalore, and I have with me Preeyal Seghal. She is an All India 12th rank holder for AILET 2024. So, congratulations and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Right. So, as with any story, let's start right at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your growing up years, your school, and specifically the decision to pursue law.
Okay, so I grew up in Delhi. I spent the first 11 years of my life in Delhi. Then I made a decision to come and study in Bangalore because my dad's job is here, he was posted here. So after that, I looked up, when I was looking for potential career, I actually started looking into UPSC. So I really wanted to prepare for UPSC. And then I did my more research, and while I was doing my research, I was also engaging in a lot of debates and months and stuff. And through my dad's friends and all, we got to know about CLAT and AILET. And that's when I started looking into coaching centers and how I can start my prep. And then I finally joined CL last year and started my journey for my CLAT and AILET prep.
Right. So, you study at the Dean's Academy, right?
Yeah, Teens Academy.
A very rigorous kind of a school.
Not really. I mean, they are strict, but like if you're decently scoring well and stuff, they will give you like a light hand at the end of your preparation when you actually need it.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice to hear of schools who are supportive. So, for example, knowing that CLAT and IELTS are in December, they could, ease off a little bit on the pressure at this time, right? That's good. What stream did you
Right,
take?
right. I took humanities because I was clear that I wanted to do law before I was choosing my stream, so I took humanities.
Okay, right. So, once we started at Career Launcher Indranagar, let's talk about the first couple of months and all. How was the experience there? The kind of introduction to the program.
It was actually amazing. I still remember my first class. Anyway, sir took that class, and he introduced some situation, and we all had to argue about it. So that kind of gave an insight to law as a career as well. And as we went forward about the all the worksheets and all the concepts, they were explained really well in CL. So the starting leg of my preparation was only really well. So I think that kind of helped me. CL helped me understand the pattern and everything clearly. And I feel like the early stages of prep are really important too, as is the last leg. So that's where CL helped me a lot.
Right. And then we come to the second year where the pressure starts building up. The current affairs comes into play, the mocks comes into play.
Right.
So, does were you worried about current affairs? That's what a lot of students kind of hype up as the big surprise element or the tough element.
Right. I was actually not worried about GK as much because I had started studying GK from June itself last year. So I was reading months of regularly. So when I actually started preparing for from Jan and December and Jan, I had a fair idea about all the basics of GK. So I used to just read it quickly after that and used to just I was quite good at GK too.
Mm. But none of the sources would tell you the full name of General Dyer.
Yeah, that was an
Right.
unexpected question.
Unexpected question, yes. Right. So, freakishly, I got it right. I don't know why. I just felt certain names were right and it worked out. But
That's
yes,
great.
then the mocks, for example, is where we get your first taste of what it would look like to take a 2 hour exam. And then,
Right.
uh, of course, in between your prep, the pattern changed. So then the mocks also had to change from 150 to 120. Were you happy with the change? Or you said, no,
Not
I'm
at
comfortable with
all.
150?
No, I
Okay.
was really disappointed when the pattern changed because I was scoring really well in the 150 marks because my
Mm.
thing was my speeding the sorry, the reading speed was really good. So,
Mm,
I had an edge over there over other students. I was able to complete the paper easily in those 120 minutes. But after the pattern changed, now everybody could read in those 120 minutes. They could visit all the 120 questions. So the competition kind of increased. So my mock scores also, my ranks in the mocks was also kind of decreasing. So I had to get that
mm,
up.
mm. So one thing the new pattern made more important was math.
Right.
So you were okay with math from the beginning, or you would like to kind of put some grit and hard work and pull it up?
I was fairly good at math, but at the last leg of preparation, when I was doing mocks, the questions started coming really hard, and I couldn't solve all the 10 questions, that the 120 question paper had. So then after that, I started revisiting all the basic concepts back, and I in the last 3 months, I think I revised maths a lot.
Okay, right. Now, lot of mocks, I think maybe 40 or so, more than that. And while we do, for sake of convenience, give the option of writing the mocks online, uh, we've always said that offline is preferred. So, do you take the mocks offline as far as possible, or almost all of them?
Right. I don't think I took any mock online. I can't read online mock because my eyes hurt a
Okay,
lot. So I live
okay,
far from Indranagar, so it takes me quite a while, but I made sure I attended every single mock offline.
great. And as an extension, we also said that, okay, we should give students a feel of this center, exam center, multiple classrooms kind of thing. So that's when we started this Joseph's Mux, where we got
Right.
students from all over Bangalore. We were worried because some of them were staying pretty far. But how was that experience?
I feel like that was the reason I cleared AILET because when I went to the AILET center, I was not nervous because I knew that I had given that. CLAT was unexpected, so that's a different thing. But in AILET, when I was at the center, I didn't feel as much as pressure because I had given mocks at St. Joseph's like 2-3 times before,
Mm,
if I remember. So it was pretty chill. I wasn't worried about the center. When I saw a lot of people there also, I wasn't worried because I had seen those kind of people at the St. Joseph's also. So
right. Let's talk about all the other smart kids who studied with you at the Nagar Center and all that, right? So how important it is to have other people who are like, good and also motivated just like you. How important is it to have that kind of a group around you?
yeah, I feel like it's really important to have study buddies or uh, any person that is doing better than you. So when you look at their mock scores and when you look at their preparation, you learn from it, and then you feel like improving yourselves. So in my class, I had two students. They were really smart too. So when I looked at them and how hard they worked, it kind of pushed me too, and they guided me too, and I helped them too sometimes. So it was like a mutual thing, and they fared pretty well too in class. So it's like it's an awesome thing to have friends around you that help you through the journey.
Good. So, but one of the things that happens when there's a long preparation and lot of mocks is that you tend to have scores which go down. Like you told me that when the pattern changed, the scores went down. So how does one react when the scores go down in a particular mock? Sometimes for almost no visible reason.
That's a wrong question to ask to me because I remember 2 months before the prep, I was scoring in 60s, and I had good scores before, and then they just dropped to 60s, and I cried for days, and I couldn't attempt a single mock for a long time. I remember I had a pile of mocks, and I just like I just wanted to get rid of them because I couldn't look at mocks anymore. But then eventually I realized that I have 2 months left and there is nothing much I can do rather than just practice mocks. I have to get in that mindset of attempting mocks and eventually I will get better. So you have to hold on to that hope that, the more you practice, the more you will get better. So then you are going to have ups and downs. It was not ever a straight line, and it was always an, up and down.
And you spend time writing a mock, you also spend time analyzing it. So what do you look for at the end of the mock and say, okay, what do I take away from this?
Right. So I always used to, while attempting the mock, used to mark certain questions that I either took a long time or I was very confused in them. So
Mm.
regardless of whether I got that question right or wrong, I used to visit back that question and I used to contemplate why I was stuck in that question or why I didn't mark the other option that was correct. So I feel like within the while I was writing the mock, after we finish the mock, we kind of forget what we did in the actual mock. That's why it's important for me to, it was important for me to mark the question while I was writing the mock. All those questions that I was stuck at for more than I should have.
Cool. So, uh, I think that's a pretty key thing. A lot of people sometimes the time you spend on a particular question becomes a much bigger issue than whether you get it right or wrong. Because
Right.
it
Right.
affects your time distribution, it affects the total number of attempts. And when people don't attempt enough, they're not really giving themselves a chance, especially when the paper
Exactly.
turns out like CLAT, which is like pretty easy, high scoring, and so on.
Right.
So, when people describe this year's CLAT, all kinds of words are used, like, from very easy to some people call it weird, and some people call it a mockery, and so on and so forth. But what was your
Yeah.
impression while you were giving the exam?
When I started with GK, so GK is the first thing I attempt, and
Mm,
I had attempted all the GK questions earlier, like
mm,
without reading the passage because that's how I did.
mm,
Then halfway
right.
through, I realized that I have to read the passage because the answers are in the passage. So I had to
Mm,
verify my answers from the passage. That took a lot of time.
right.
And when I realized how easy the paper is, in the middle, I started getting giddy because, like, I all sorts of thoughts start coming into my mind of how the paper is easy, the cutoff will go high, and I think that's the mistake I made with CLAT. I shouldn't have thought about what will is going to happen. I should have just focused on the paper. And I feel like if I had done that, I would have secured a really good rank in CLAT too. So that was the one thing that went wrong with me while writing CLAT.
True. Because even if you had spent a little more time in GK with the kind of reading speed you have, you would
Yeah,
have saved that time in English and legal,
right,
and then that would have given enough time for logic and quant. And quant wasn't
right,
that difficult, and could have worked that
exactly.
out. Yes, good. So, Uh, CLAT was a disappointment. I think we
Yes.
discussed that briefly. So that would have hit you hard. Uh, but how are you able to sort of, say, shake it off and go in a fresh mind with ILET?
Actually, I didn't. So I after class disappointment, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. It was terrible because I had prepared for 1.5, like more than 1 year. And when you get a sort of and you realize that it wasn't totally your fault and the paper had a role to play in it. It was just sad. So I took a break. Okay, I studied for AILET for the first few days after class, and then like 3 days before AILET, I didn't do much. I just revised GK.
Mhm.
I just, calmed myself. I actually didn't speak to anyone, even my parents, for 3 days before. So I was kind of getting in that mindset. CLAT, I had to just forget CLAT because that happened. Now I have to focus on the next thing that I have. So I just didn't speak to anyone. I was just in the mindset. I revised GK. I was trying to calm myself so that this one paper I can still, turn everything around. And that happened. So it worked out for me.
Mhm. I think that's the big thing because you've spent a year and a half preparing. It's not
Yeah,
that the last 3 days of extra preparation or another mock would
exactly.
have made much of a difference.
Right.
But I think the mental prep is probably the one that really paid off. So getting
Yes.
yourself in the right frame of mind is what really paid off. And the this time the luck went right in the sense that the paper was something that students actually prepared for. So
Yes.
uh, it had all the things that had to be tested: critical reasoning, a little bit of analytical reasoning, comprehension, principle based questions, the whole works.
Right.
So you felt good at the end of IELTS that look, I've really given it well.
Yes. So at the end of CLAT, I knew I messed up. So when I came out, I was very disappointed. But when I came out of the center of ALET, I was really happy. I don't know. I wasn't thinking about the outcome of the paper. I was just happy with how I attempted it. I actually finished
Hmm.
the paper 5 minutes before the bell
Okay,
rang. So
all 150 questions.
Yeah, I visited all consecutive
Okay,
questions
that's
and I
great.
had 5 minutes remaining. So I was
Hmm.
just, going through everything and I just felt really happy. It was just an internal happiness. I don't know why, but I just felt really happy after the paper. Now
Hmm.
I know
So
why.
that's pretty amazing speed. I think I'm sure one day you're going to look at an entire big case file and say, "Okay, I've done it. I've read it all the times. Now
I
that
really
now
hope
let's discuss
so.
the points."
Yes.
Right. And but then after IELTS, you didn't really reveal the score or anything. It was just like hanging on until the actual results, right? That's
Right. Yeah,
just
because
wanted
at
to
the
be sure.
start, I didn't think that I would get AILET. I had no hopes from AILET because a lot of people around me got in hundreds, and above 110 too. So I thought the cutoff would go really high. So I wasn't thinking. That's why I was contemplating about, I talked to you about taking a drop year
Right,
and,
right,
potential colleges with CLAT
right.
itself. So when I actually got the result, I was really surprised about it.
Mm. Okay, so I always like happy endings, so this is one of
Yeah.
them.
Yes.
Right. So you sorry. So uh, what would you suggest? I mean, there's a lot that even listening so far to this video itself would be a lot of points that potentially students can gain from because it gives an insight into what it takes to actually prepare for this long, go through the ups and downs, and actually make it. But any additional tips that you would like to offer for people who are going for law, maybe the 25 CLAT or even later?
Yeah, so one of the best advice that I have gotten, and now I've realized this too, is just controlling your mind. Because Anime sir only said that when I heard him saying that, and it's just now I'm realizing that CLAT and AILET and any other exam for that matter are 60% about your preparation before and 40% about what you do on that day. So you need to prepare
Right.
yourself for that. To be in that mindset, so that mental element, I think a lot of aspirants, including me while I was writing CLAT,
Hmm.
just overlook, but that has a huge role to play. So just I would just recommend to just stay calm, keep working, keep focused, and you'll get here too.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think that's all that I had planned for questions wise. We will be having a, a lovely meet this time where we bring in everyone, all those who have made it to the top colleges. We do that every year. One part is celebration, other part is meeting with the 25 students and taking their queries and talking about how you did it and just kind of I think one is somebody like Animesh or me saying it. The other is, people that they kind of relate to saying, okay, they just did it,
Yeah.
you know, and 1 year later we're going to do it. So
Actually,
that's very relatable.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
actually at the meet last year, and I told myself that one day I'd be sitting up there. So now you saying that makes me feel so happy.
Yep, you're going to be there, and they're going to be like a whole bunch of students who are going to ask queries on how you did it.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that.
Right. So congratulations once again, and again congratulations to your parents also. They've really been there. I think I could
Right,
sense it on that day also. That look, they're like whatever it takes to support her kind of stuff.
right,
Right. So
right.
congratulations to them, and
Thank you so much.
yes, we'll meet at the celebration meet.
Yes, thank you so much, sir.